Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be seeing if we can get this vintage AHM General Electric switcher running again. This was a little locomotive that I picked up off of eBay for practically $5. It was in a lot with a whole bunch of other locomotives, which we recently tested, and this one unfortunately wouldn't seem to move under its own power. The motor was actually turning over, but I suspect there's some sort of a problem with the drive. It actually looks like the worm gear is out of place. So we're going to see if we can correct that today and hopefully get this little number running once again. Let's get started. Let's go test it out. So you can see if we just put the locomotive on the track here and give it some power, you can hear the motor's definitely spinning up inside of it, so it's getting power and everything. It just doesn't seem to want to go. So let's take this thing back over to the workbench. We'll crack it open and see if we can figure out what the problem is. So we're going to crack this thing open. I think the best place to start is probably down here at the wheels. We'll just remove all these screws you see right here, and we'll take the wheels out and see if we can find any problems. We might have to open the whole locomotive up, but we'll look here first. In any case, it looks like the wipers are not where they should be, so we're going to have to open this part up either way if we want this to hopefully work properly at some point. So take that all out. Got like a little weight or something there. Anyway, there are both the wheel sets. Nothing too special. And yeah, it definitely seems to be loose. I was just able to pull it out, so I don't know. There's something weird going on there. But first thing I want to do is try to sort out these wipers because they're really not looking so great. I mean, this one right here is ridiculously bent. So I'm just going to take another tool, see if we can just kind of bend them back into place. Yeah, that should be okay. And we'll do the same for this one, although I kind of going to bend this one a bit of a different direction. That should be good. And this one, we're going to bend back the other way. Just a tad bit. You want these to have adequate tension on the wheels, but not so much that they, wear the wipers down too quickly or add a lot of strain on the locomotive. You just want them to make good enough contact that it's like a solid connection. So, yeah, see, we can even probably just bend that one back a tiny bit just to reduce the tension on it a little bit. So that should be pretty good. I'll put some alcohol in there too because these wipers look pretty dirty. Just put a bit of alcohol on this right here. I'll just try to get all that dust and stuff out. And I'll take our flatheads here and just use that to try to clean off those contacts a little bit. They're already looking a little better. Yeah, look at all that. Kind of wild. That should be good. I'm also just going to try to clean out this area right here because there's all sorts of dust and crap that you really don't want getting caught on your worm gear there. And why don't we clean the bearings out too while we're in here. They look pretty clean already, but why not? Alright, so that's all sorted out. Now let's see what's going on the upstairs part of the locomotive. That to me does not look like a stock AHM motor. I could be mistaken. I don't know if towards the end of their manufacturing maybe they used these, but yeah, it looks a lot more modern than a lot of the motors you see on these things. In any case, it seems to be kind of loose, and we got a broken clip right there. Got one clip on this side, but it looks to be sort of broken. Let's see if we can just pull this motor out. Oh. Okay, well, I'm glad I did that, because it looks like a lot of hair made its way up into this area. This is just ridiculous. Look at this. Okay, this is not the best thing to do, but I'm just going to pull the gear off. That way we can try to get all this hair and crap off of it. Yuck. Somebody was running, like, this is bits of a carpet right here. Somebody was running this on a carpet, and this being maybe from the late 80s or 90s, They were probably running it on just regular track, which didn't have roadbed. That's one thing that's good about most modern starter sets, is that they actually do have proper roadbed, so it helps to avoid this problem. But this is the exact reason you don't run model trains on carpets, especially since the bottom of this frame is open, so they could have just wound right around that and made their way to the top. I have to get something to try to get the rest of it out. That is just wild. Kind of one of the more worst cases I've seen of this problem. Looks like this engine had a bit of lazy craftsmanship on it as well. The motor seems to be turning fine, so I don't think any of the hair got in the bearings, but I will throw some oil in each of the bearings, and I'm using conductive lubricant just in case a bit gets on the commutator. So that should all be good now, and we can get our gear back on there. Making sure to leave a bit of gap just so that this doesn't rub against the motor. And now, just need to drop that back down. And then we just need to figure out something to help hold this motor in place since that clip is gone. Because clearly what happened is somebody, I think, dropped this thing really hard and they broke the clip, and then the motor was sitting higher than it should be, which was allowing this to not touch the gear. So yeah, I don't know if I should put like maybe a bit of hot glue or something just on this side. It doesn't need much, really. Well, I've come up with something kind of unconventional, but crazy enough it might just work. Let's see how this all goes. Step 1, remove the old remains of the motor clip. Keep that old plastic down here, like that. And I just put our motor back into place. Not everybody's going to like this idea, but I think it's going to work. Just tie a band around this a few times. This will secure the motor against this clip, but it will also force the motor in this direction, which will keep it attached to this clip. So I think this will prevent it from jumping out. It's not a guarantee. This could go wrong, but the benefit of it is, unlike using, some sort of an adhesive, this keeps the motor secure, but it also allows us to remove it in the future if we need. This might not be a permanent solution because these bands do dry rot, and when that happens, the motor will probably become loose again. But adhesives also don't always last forever too, so we'll see how it goes. I can always add adhesive in the future. I just reckon that that's probably an okay short-term solution, or I don't know. We'll see how long it lasts. Anyway, we're now going to put the wheels back in place. Before we do so, I guess I'll throw a little bit of lubricant in each of these bearings. So that should be plenty, and then I'm going to put conductive lubricant on each of the contacts, which will improve the electrical connectivity as well as reduce friction. So makes both things just a little bit better. And you see, we just kind of force those down and get the wheels in place. And those seem pretty good now. And yeah, let me just do the same on the other side. I'm just going to clear off any pieces of dust. Oh yeah, you can see there's just a bit wound around there. Wow. So I got that nice and cleaned up. I'm going to put a bit of grease on this worm gear here. These are all plastic parts, so there's not actually a whole lot of friction between them anyway, but this will just help things move a little bit better, and it just overall will help reduce friction and extend the lifespan of the parts, which is never a bad thing. And now we just get it into place. Try to get those clips in. Didn't get that one. Yeah, look what I've done here. I've accidentally lifted the front ones out doing that. Okay, I think I've got them all in. Now I just need to really carefully get this piece back down. Just make sure there's not any hairs or anything like that before we go reattaching parts. He's got to watch out for that. And we'll put the rear coupler back in place. I don't think that will be a whole lot of trouble. All right then. I think this one goes right here. Well, I believe we have this locomotive all in order. There's only one thing left to do, which is to take it over to the track and test it out. All right, let's see if our efforts have paid off. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, let's send it for a run around the layout now. Very nice. Yeah, this thing's running pretty well. I think it's dragging on the ties a bit because there's supposed to be a traction tire on one of the wheels, but I don't happen to have one on me at the moment, so I can't really do much about that. But I mean, overall, like for this kind of switcher, like that's actually a pretty good low speed. Yeah, I think it's definitely got a 3-pole in it, so it's not flawless. I also forgot to clean the wheels on it, but even with that, it's not running too bad. A little wheel cleaning. This thing I think would run pretty mint. That motor's definitely an improvement over the older ones. So yeah, pretty happy with that. We managed to get this little number kicking once again. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and with that, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching.